everyone, welcome to another round of Chitter Chatter. Today we're going to chit chat with author Rajeev Nanda. Well, you have seen my review on Conversations, his current book. This book is a book that you're going to really enjoy. It has some prose and lots of poetry. And each story is so simple but so thought provoking that you're going to want to not read it at one go, but read it at a slow pace. You won't believe this was literally like my ritual for a few days. Every morning, a cup of coffee and conversations, that is what it was. And today I have a lot of conversations with the author on his current book, Conversations. So I'm going to send him a request and get started with this chitter chatter. Thank you everyone for joining our chitter chatter always and sending in the questions and lots of hearts that keep flowing during our chitter chatter. So let's send author a request and let's get started. Send him an invite and tell me, what are your favorite stories? What are your favorite conversations? With whom do you love to have your conversations regularly? Hello, Mr. Raji. Welcome on this
Hi,
Chitter Chat.
Shweta. Hi, great to see you. How are you?
I am very well, and now I'm super excited because finally I'm going to have a conversation with you on the conversations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, to begin with, can you tell the viewers a little about this book?
So this book actually was, I would say, in creation over many years. So I used to write, for myself, and one fine day, one of my friend, she saw one of my stories, and she encouraged, hey, why don't you publish it? So, it started around, I think around 2004, 2005. I reached out to a publisher in the US. They immediately agreed, and then, lead start in India agreed. So I think the book had its own destiny. So, yep.
Definitely, because there's so many stories, and like I was saying, my viewers, they are like very simple stories. Like you've literally written as if we're chit chatting, but each story is so thought provoking. So, how did you decide on, like, was it a conscious decision to teach through these fables and poetries, or it just happened by chance?
See, poetry, I usually, the way I say that I don't write poetry, it just happens. My wife actually tells me that, suddenly I'll wake up or I'm sitting and suddenly something comes to my mind, I write it, and that happens to be poetry. Stories, they actually came about by, more of observations around, the key, if you look at, typical situations we run into. So, situations about relationships, situation about, how to position yourself or, things like that. So, I would hear about situation, then I would like fictionalize it and, create a story out of it.
So, viewers, he also writes a blog, and there's a lot of writing that you will enjoy, not only in this book, but on his blogs also, because his thoughts are brilliant. I mean, I can go on and
Thank you.
on. और प्रभु एक
Thank you.
sided conversation होगी, because, I'm so fond of your writing from the time of this book and also by reading your blogs and everything.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
also,
Shweta.
मुझे जब review में लिखना था that, the top stories, I'm like, I landed up actually writing every title, and then I'm like, no, I can't do this. And then
फिर
I
वो
zeroed
चीटिंग लगती
down.
है. I know. I know.
So, Mr. Rajiv, tell me that, आपकी journey कैसे रही है? How's your journey as a writer been from your first blog to the blogs that you've been writing and from your first book to here?
So, I actually, बचपन से, I used to write. I'm a very I used to be, I should say, कि बहुत introvert होता था, when I was in school. So the only way I could express myself or my, thoughts was through writing. So मैं school में अपना जैसे वो school की वो, you have that, the school magazines, college magazines and things like that. So I would just, write and share it forward, and if they like it, they would publish it. But then, when I started working, तो उसमें भी, होता क्या था कि मैंने कुछ लिख के कहीं छोड़ दिया. Those days, like, you didn't have like online everything. I would write something, किसी को मेरी कॉपी पकड़ ली, उसने अपना पब्लिश कर दिया कहीं पे. तो it was more of my introspection about if I were in a situation that I see around me, तो क्या होगा? So, and then fictionalize it. And then see, Kibi, what are the situations telling us? Because life throws situations at us to teach us something. it is up to us whether we learn it or not.
True.
तो मुझे लगा कि जिंदगी जो है वो बार बार आपको उस सिचुएशन में लाएगी जब तक आप या तो सबक सीखोगे और द लाइफ विल गिव अप ऑन यू कि यार ये बेवकूफ तो कुछ नहीं सीखेगा, इसको छोड़ो, किसी और से पे काम करते हैं. तो it was more like, I would say, thinking about, life and situations that we run into every day.
And like this book is all about the situations, and आप इतने observant हैं about the situations around you, be it the first story Splinters, which is actually inspired from your daughter's story only.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like you said, life या तो सिखाती है या तो कहती है कि बेवकूफ कुछ नहीं सीख रहा है, चलो आगे बढ़ो. So, what was the most challenging part? क्योंकि I'm sure जितनी observant आप हैं, आप बहुत सारी stories, I'm sure एक या दो stories तो दिन की आपको आती होगी. उसमें to zero down on these कैसे किया आपने? What was the challenging part for you in that?
नहीं, ये स्टोरीज तो क्या हुआ कि भी आई हैड लाइक आई थिंक कलेक्शन ऑफ मे बी 20 और 25 स्टोरी. जो मैंने यूएस में फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने पब्लिश की बुक, तो जो एडिटर थी, शी लुक्ड एट देम एंड शी सेड कि यार, these are stories that don't make any sense. What are you even trying to say? ठीक है. So my thoughts were not even clear कि भी मैं कहना क्या चाहता हूँ. So then, she actually culled some of the stories or things that I had written. So it just so happened कि भी ये उसने 10-12 जो story select की, so that continued in the book. Or then I didn't like write more after that. Then I started, फिर blog शुरू हो गए. तो मैंने कहा यार कि why write stories, books वगैरह का पता नहीं क्या होता है. And I just switched over to writing small pieces of blog, क्योंकि I was very busy at work also. So I could only get time to just summarize what I want to say and put it on my blog, on my website, and that's it.
How simply you said, ना, that's it. इतना ही हुआ है और कुछ खास नहीं, जबकि इतना कुछ हो गया. And that's exactly viewers in this story. It is very simple the way he says it, but जब वो एक story खत्म होती है ना, you are in your own thoughts कि oh shit, the story's taught you so much. Be it the taxi driver story, the way the end is. And I'm not going to tell the viewers the end, because if you all want to know the end, you'll have to go and get your copies of Conversations by Rajeev Nanda. And also do let him know how you like the book, which was your favorite story, which was your favorite poem. I know, for a writer, it's very difficult to choose कि favorite story कौन सी है, favorite poem कौन सा है. But in this, if you had to choose your top 3 stories, कौन सी होती?
देखो, जो फर्स्ट स्टोरी है स्प्लिंटर, उसके साथ मेरी इमोशनल अटैचमेंट है. क्योंकि व्यूअर्स को पता नहीं है, आपके आई शेयर द स्टोरी विद यू, द बैकग्राउंड ऑफ इट. वहां से ये जर्नी शुरू हुई थी एक्चुअली कि वी वर इन ह्यूस्टन. मेरी बड़ी बेटी रेवा, शी वाज बोर्न, शी वाज अबाउट अ ईयर एंड 1 or 2 months. जब बच्चे शुरू करते हैं चलना सीखना, तो वही एज फर्स्ट पेरेंट, लाइक पेरेंट्स ऑफ द फर्स्ट बोर्न, वेरी एक्साइटेड. हम अपना वहाँ मॉल पे गए, उनको उसके लिए बहुत ही फैंसी हमने शूज लेके दिए, which were like beyond our budget. बच्चों के लिए, we in spite of knowing कि भी उसने मुश्किल से 2 बार पहनेगी और she'll grow up. And because they were very fancy shoes, they came in a very fancy bag kind of thing, जो shoulder पे लगा के आप चल सकते हो. तो घर आके हमने उसको वो जूते पहनाए, and she was like walking around, और उसने बैग वो लगा रखा था अपना. तो I just asked her कि रेवा, what do you have in the bag? तो अब वो बेचारी अभी she was like so young, so कुछ बोल तो पाई नहीं. And before that, my wife actually responded. She was saying, "Oh, Papa, I have dreams in this bag." So that just clicked. मुझे लगा कि यार, जब हम छोटे होते हैं बचपन से, and towards when you are adolescent and all that, we have so much dreams. We have like, we will take on the world and everything. And by the time you're 40, 50, 60, you become so cynical, and you hate everything. You get a very, very negative perspective on life.
Right.
So that I started thinking about, how can I express, that thought. So that story is one of my favorite because of the emotional attachment and all that. बाकी, it's very, as you said, it's very difficult for me to say कि कौन सी story अच्छी है. But the poem जो है मेरी जो favorite है, the darkness is the one of the favorite, क्योंकि जब वो I would say कि जब वो poem उतरी, when I could like I penned it, um, so I realized कि the same sentiment about the darkness of the soul and the darkness of the mind. You know, the it, the we our soul becomes dark because we
Right.
carry on regrets in our life. And when the soul dies, तो फिर यमराज क्या लेके जाएगा अपने साथ? So because the body is burned here, or दफना दी जाती है, whatever the case is, right? So darkness poem, is one of the my favorite, or splinters, because of the emotional attachment. And that is the very first story actually I wrote, that I actually typically wrote on the with pen and paper.
So darkness is also my favorite. मैंने आपको बताया भी था that when I read darkness, so I'm going to recite a little darkness poem
Sure,
for the viewers out here. Darkness.
absolutely.
Achievements aplenty, those I recall with pride and pleasure. This one regret stuck in my throat like a thorn, pricking and hurting with every breath. My dreams fulfill, reminisce, and reflect, which I will. This one idea that was aborted sits in my heart like a lump, like a still child in a womb. A hearse cries a dead body, what carries a dead soul. The world mourns a dead person who mourns a dead hope. A wreath decorates a dead body. What decorates a dead spirit? If the spirit dies before the body, what carries the death with it? Like this poem, when I read, I was shocked. I was like just sitting, I'm like, this is so true, like we, just like you said, we have a lot of hopes, we have a bag full of dreams, and due to circumstances, society, belief systems, at the end, what happens? Like from a bag of dreams to darkness is exactly the journey from,
Yes,
childhood to youth. And by the time we
beyond.
realize, sometimes it's too late. So I had anyways thought I'm gonna recite this poem, और आपने darkness की बात की, तो I
Thank you,
said ये
thank
तो
you.
अब reciting बनता है.
बिल्कुल, absolutely. Thank you very much.
So जब आपकी ये बुक लिखी, आपने पब्लिश की, एंड क्योंकि एक जर्नी रही है, where the editor came on board and she said, let's edit it, and finally the copy was out, your words were printed for people to hold it in their hand. What were the reviews that came your way and touched you?
So, the edition that you're holding is the second edition, or I should say third edition, क्योंकि पहला edition US में आया था. So, I didn't do anything about it. वो publishers, मैंने कहा कि यार, I, it was my hobby, right? So it's not like for my profession. So I didn't spend any effort or anything on the marketing. So by the time I was in India, मैं US से India move हो गया था, Bangalore में था. तो Lead Shark ने publish किया. So, उस time पे I think we got some good reviews. They were about, I would say, 60 to 70% very positive, 30 to 40%, were कि यार ये क्या बकवास है. And that's fine. But मुझे actually I got a lot of good feedback in terms of कि, how did I write and all that. Maybe I was not clear in expressing about myself. तो फिर about a year and a half ago, Lead Start की जो PM है अनन्या करके, she reached out to me कि Rajiv, this book has some material, so we would like to revive it. तो मैंने उसे बोला यार अब 10 साल हो गए, it's been like that. Because for me it was more of a hobby. So but she convinced me कि नहीं, there is some life in it. So let's relook at it. थोड़ी लैंग्वेज क्लीन अप करते हैं, थोड़ा सा उसको फाइन ट्यून करके लेट्स रीपब्लिश. So what you're seeing is actually the third edition of that. For me personally, actually, it is very heartwarming when people like you, or readers, find meaning in it. But I'm also happy by the negative feedback that some people have given, which is because that means that either one, it could be what I was trying to say was not clear, or it may not be their liking, which is okay, that's fine. So मेरे को इतना इफेक्ट नहीं करता है whether people like it or not like it, but I do find very heartwarming, especially when people find meaning in it. Whether you like it or not, मुझे इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता, but it impacted you, it's stuck in your mind कि अरे darkness जो poem है, what is it conveying, or splinters or taxi ride and all that, and that's all it matters.
सो पीपल वेदर यू लाइक यू डोंट लाइक वो तो सेकेंडरी है. फर्स्टली ये है कि आप अपनी ये बुक खरीदे और बताइए कि आपको पढ़ के कैसा लगा. व्हाट डिड यू एंड सी लाइक he said he's open to criticism also, so whatever it
Yes.
is, buy your copies and do let us know whether you liked, you didn't like, if you liked, what you liked so much, if you didn't like, which I doubt it's going to happen because I fell in love with the stories. तो अगर कुछ वैसा भी है तो do DM the author, do read, and do let us know what you loved about it. Also, as a writer, I believe that when you express
Yes.
whatever your thoughts are,
Yeah.
prose mein ho, poetry mein ho, it changes you a little. Somewhere those thoughts,
Yes.
the moment they are penned
Yes.
down on the paper, there
You're
is
right.
a change in you. So what is your emotion after you pen down a particular thing?
तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन पूछा है वैसे श्वेता. इट्स लाइक वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन दैट यू आस्किंग. तो आई टिपिकली व्हेन आई राइट, जब ब्लॉग भी मैं लिखता हूँ, अगर आप मेरी वेबसाइट पे जाकर देखेंगे तो द ब्लॉग्स आई राइट, so then I write and forget. Then I revisit usually after maybe a few days or something. So then only two different kind of thoughts मेरे दिमाग में आता है. एक ये, अरे ये किस बेवकूफ ने लिखा है, ठीक है. अगर वो मेरे दिमाग में आता तो that gives me feedback कि भी I have to be very clear about what I'm trying to say. That means कि अगर मेरे को ही clear नहीं है कि मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूँ, तो जो पढ़ेगा तो obviously वो confused होगा. और समटाइम्स सम ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट कुछ ब्लॉग्स हैं जो कि मुझे लगता है अरे यार क्या बंदे ने क्या लिखा है यार. सो दीज आर द ओनली टू थिंग्स दैट यूजुअली आई think, and then I see, that's my, what I would say barometer of कि भी what I've written is okay, इसको आगे नहीं कुछ करना. अगर मुझे लगता है कि यार even if I am not clear about what I'm reading, तो फिर मुझे थोड़ा उसको रिवो करना पड़ता है. तो that, that's the way I view all this. मेरे को लगता है कि यार ठीक है, this is something that I use for more expressing my thoughts and talking about what I feel, what I think. The only thing that I want, or I try to be, is be as honest in my thinking and writing as possibly I can. I don't want to miss words. I don't want to please anybody. I don't want to have any like a persona. जो मैं हूँ वो हूँ, जो मैं लिखता हूँ मैं लिखता हूँ. जिनको पसंद आएगा बहुत बढ़िया, जिनको नहीं पसंद आएगा प्लीज बताएं कि क्या पसंद नहीं आया, तो मे बी I'll think, I'll introspect and maybe write better next time.
वो ऑनेस्टी तो आपकी हर स्टोरी में रिफ्लेक्ट करती है, फिर वो बुक में हो या आपके ब्लॉग में हो. दैट इज समथिंग बिकॉज आई हैव रेड योर बुक, आई कैन वाउच फॉर, एंड आई एम श्योर
Thank
द
you.
वंस हु रेड इट टू विल वाउच फॉर. बट जैसे आपने कहा कि आपने कुछ लिखा, पहले वो रिजेक्ट हुआ, फिर वो रिवाइव हुआ, और फिर वो इतना अच्छा हो गया कि 3 बार पब्लिश हुआ है. लाइक
Yes.
इट्स बीन अ जर्नी. सो व्हाट वुड यू
Yes.
वांट टू टेल व्यूअर्स हियर जो कितनी बार दे थिंक ऑफ राइटिंग और फर्स्ट रिजेक्शन में ही गिव अप कर देते हैं.
The only I would say is don't worry. Rejection actually, आप ये सोचो, and I will give you, it's like analogy की भी, एक नदी बह रही है, अगर उसके सामने पत्थर आते हैं तो वो रुक नहीं जाती है, वो एक नया मार्ग ढूंढती है. The river will find a new way to the ocean. So yes, the mountains, the rejections, the storm, whatever you call it, are there to serve a purpose. Don't take it personally. कोई यहाँ पे कुछ मेडल नहीं लेके जाने वाला है, और कुछ in the end all of us are dust. So don't worry about it. Just write, express. जिनको पसंद आया आया, नहीं आया नहीं आया, कोई बात नहीं यार. You write, next time you do better, next time you do better, incremental, and then you follow your path to the ocean.
True, and that's such an example, like a meaningful example, because कितनी बार योर स्टोरीज, कभी आप यमराज के थ्रू सिखा रहे हैं हमें, कभी आप एक बच्चे के थ्रू सिखा रहे हैं हमें, और जैसे आपने अभी इतना ब्यूटीफुल थॉट अबाउट रिजेक्शन आपने नदी के थ्रू सिखा दिया. सी दैट इज व्हाट व्यूअर्स आई वाज टेलिंग यू ऑल, दैट इज व्हाट ही डज, ही क्रिएट्स मैजिक विद द थिंग्स अराउंड हिम, व्हिच इज द
Oh,
बेस्ट पार्ट
thank you.
अबाउट योर स्टोरीज.
Thank you very much.
So before I get on to our last segment, do you have your copy around so that we can have a selfie moment with the book?
Sure, मैं ये मेरे बुक शेल्फ पे पड़ी होगी.
So, people,
Yes.
Conversations is a book of prose and poetry. And ready for a selfie moment? One, two, three. And yes, there I've had my selfie moment with the author that I've enjoyed reading every morning with my cup of coffee.
Thank you.
So, now my last segment is a quick chitter chatter just to know a little more about you as a reader, as a writer. So, आपका favorite author?
Interesting. Favorite तो बहुत हैं, but I will
कुछ
say,
बता दो जितने चाहिए. We are all yours.
but I will actually say two authors who have influenced a lot my, my philosophy of life and all that. एक अमृता प्रीतम, she was a Punjabi writer, and one Ayn Rand. So
Your
अमृता प्रीतम
favorite
की,
book?
my favorite book between the two authors, अमृता प्रीतम की जो पोइट्री है 101 कविताएं, is just phenomenal. और आयन रैंड की obviously the Fountainhead Atlas
Fountainhead.
Shrugged. Yes, yeah. वहीं से इंट्रोडक्शन शुरू होती है, तो but Atlas Shrugged, yes, yes. And Anthem actually उसकी बहुत ही बढ़िया थी, very small book, but very very good. Yeah.
As a child, what is your favorite memory of reading?
It would take me into an imaginary world. Now I could imagine things. I could like uh, uh, create a world of my own. So I could, the no bounds, no social or no, worldwide जो भी आपका ये होता है ना कि भी, the definitions of, what one should be or what can one be, तो वो सब disappear हो जाते हैं. So that used to be, the most fun part of reading, or it's even today.
Yeah, true. Your favorite memory of writing?
I don't know कि कोई है मेरी favorite memory, but ये no, I would say कि yes, when I write poetry, चाहे वो हिंदी में भी काफी थोड़ी बहुत मेरे पब्लिश नहीं किया, मेरे पास वो प्राइवेट कलेक्शन है अभी, कभी पंजाबी में थोड़ा सा लिख लेता हूँ, इंग्लिश. तो I actually go into a zone, चाहे वो 2 लाइनें मैं लिखूं, and suddenly I will come out and that actually the feeling I get. एंड कुछ हैं जैसे कि एक मैंने लिखी थी पोयम, मतलब पोयम क्या, 2 पंक्तियां थी कि गिव मी अ सेकेंड. क्यों उलझे हो हाथों की इन लकीरों में, मुकद्दर उनके भी होते हैं जिनके हाथ नहीं होते.
Wow.
तो आई रिमेम्बर कि मैं बेंगलोर में था. आई वाज लाइक, आई वाज गोइंग टू द ऑफिस, एंड सडनली इट लाइक इट हैपेंड. मैंने फटाफट अपना वो स्मार्टफोन उसमें पे करके फटाफट आई नोटेड इट डाउन, बट देन आई स्टार्टेड रिफ्लेक्टिंग ऑन इट. तो those moments I would say are my favorite, कि when suddenly something happens, I write, and then I really really like it. मतलब मेरे को अभी तक याद है, although I don't remember like 90 or 95% of my poems जो मैं लिख लेता हूँ, पर some of these I remember.
Your last read?
Last read, actually वो तो मैं I'm reading a business book right now. So it is about creativity, and innovation. So पर the last, I would say, fiction read was, टाइम हो गया मेरे को थोड़ा fiction पढ़े. But yeah. So right now I would say I'm more into business reading.
Do you leave books in half or you have to finish it?
Then I many times I leave them in half. But there are some books that are so heavy that, अभी मैं एक पढ़ रहा था, Our Religions करके एक book है that talks about, all the major religions of the world. And, you cannot just read it in one go. It's so heavy that you
Right.
have to like read a little bit, internalize it, pause, and then go back. So yes, there are many, many books that, I have like read in, I would say installments.
How many books do you read at once?
No, I try to stick to one book at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you like reading with music or with silence?
I used to like reading with music, but lately I think my wife has started complaining कि अब हमारे घर में म्यूजिक नहीं चलता है जहाँ पे कि I would wake up at 6 a.m. तो मैं म्यूजिक शुरू हो जाता था. So yeah, I think over the years something has happened, but I need to get back to but yeah, piano or good Indian classical music हो, कोई राग वगैरह अच्छा चल रहा हो, so that really puts me into the mood.
Do you like reading indoor or outdoor?
Doesn't matter. The book has to be good.
Coffee shop or library?
Uh, at home.
Okay. Read once or reread?
Oh, I have reread like a lot of my collection. मेरी कुछ जैसे रिचर्ड बाक की है इल्यूजन्स, आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी टाइम्स आई हैव रेड इट. आयन रैंड की बहुत बार पढ़ी. अमृता प्रीतम मेरी पूरी कलेक्शन पढ़ी है. कभी मुझे लगता है कि I need to revisit. Oh, yes, reread many times. The go-to books. Yes.
If you had to meet a author, she could be in heaven or present. Who would you want to meet, and what would you want to say?
I would really want to meet both Amrita Pritam and Ayn Rand. And, I would not say anything. I would just sit and bask in their glory. That's it.
There's this one book that you've read and you felt that you could do a better job writing the same story. Which one was it?
नहीं ऐसा I don't think कोई मेरे को ऐसा कभी हुआ है. I think every writer has their genre. Every writer has the right to express what they want to say. So who am I to improve upon somebody else? मैं अपने आप को भी improve कर दूं, बहुत बड़ी बात है. you know so yeah, I don't think I have never ever felt that way.
A book that you saw the adaptation on the screen and you said, oh, the book and the movie both are brilliant.
Godfather.
Surprisingly, whenever I've asked this question, unanimously I've got this answer.
क्योंकि either the book is good or the movie is good. But Godfather, I think, was a well done piece of work.
The first thing that comes to your mind when I say these titles, conversations.
Think.
Splinters.
Life.
Taxi driver.
Marketing.
Darkness.
Soul.
Misfit.
Prejudices.
The Truth Club.
The truth.
The Rabbit Hole.
सोचना पड़ेगा. but no, very very interesting. I would say cultural norms.
Rajeev Nanda as an author.
Nothing comes to my mind. बीवी से पूछना पड़ेगा.
I like that line. बीवी से पूछना पड़ेगा. तो हमें पूछ के बताइएगा. I would really want to know what did she have to say when you asked her Rajeev Nanda as an author, and even our viewers would want to know.
Absolutely, anytime.
And lastly, how was it being on Chitter Chatter with Shweta Rohira?
Oh, I love being, I've always loved chatting up with you. इतनी बार भी हमारी बात हुई है. You are really phenomenal. Very, very nice. And you engage your audience, you engage the people that you talk to. Phenomenal. Very, very nice. Really enjoyed.
Thank you so much for giving time for this chitter chatter. It was a pleasure having you here and having so many conversations. And we're looking forward to many, many more stories from you and many, many, many more chitter chatters.
Thank you. Thank you very much.